Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for a lower day. I apologize for the camera angle. I can't believe I didn't set it a little further back so I could get my head in this, so we can't see it. I decided for my top set of deadlifts today to go ahead and do a stiff bar with a really big deficit. Got 6 quality reps. I left a little bit in the tank. Right now, I just want to come in and do just a good high quality deadlift set. I'm like, what's going to give me the most muscle stimulus right now while still maintaining deadlift strength and deadlift technique? I'm like, let's do a big deficit with a stiff bar, right? It's objectively harder. And yes, I'm aware I have pulled some pretty decent lifts with this on a max on this variation in the past. So I can be decently strong at it. And I know 455, people are like, you should have done 500. I probably should have. Maybe next time I'll go for more reps, or I'll just throw 500 on and do that. But again, I just wanted a good quality set, and I want to keep a little bit of neural drive and some deadlift in there because I love deadlifts. And then, like I said, eventually I may work in a heavy top set of squats on some of these days, but right now I don't care. I just want to build the muscle. So in keeping with that, I'm like, well, I don't want to mess with the split squats. Let's just do 10 sets of these belt squats, okay? Great stimulus to fatigue. They light my quads up. I can be sure of getting kind of the stances and stuff that I want. So I'm like, let me go up to 200 on this, which should be challenging for 10s. And I can build it from there, or I can go up in reps on that. And I did everything as trisets. That's how I was able to get away with that sort of quad volume. Because I'm coming in, I'm like, I'm going to have plenty of rest time. If I do a lower back or posterior chain or hamstring exercise, we'll call them posterior chain, right? We'll do posterior chain and a calf exercise in between. And I feel like with that, I'm like, I don't know that I need a lot of variation really on quad movements. Quads are quads. And I didn't enjoy trying to set up the front squats. So I did something a little different, and I only did this 2 sets, and I'm like, this is not working. It's making my ankles hurt. I tried to do the really thick plate, these 2.5-inch plates for the calf raises. And I went back to my little 25-pound plate after, mainly because I noticed a little bit of ankle irritation. I could do a couple less reps, so it was clearly a little more effective. And maybe I'll be able to build up to this, but this workout, it was a bit much. I'm going to need to ease into something like that. But it's definitely good, but it was a bit of a struggle balancing for me, and that was the main thing, worried about that. But I feel like with a little practice, I could probably work in and do those. Because again, I like the ability to add range of motion. Now, what I will say with these belt squats, because I did 10 sets of this stuff after deadlifting, my quads were getting crushed by this. Like, these work sets were hard. They were hard. And this is a lot of volume. And I'm keeping with this, guys. We're working on body composition. I'm going to keep getting leaner, right? I want to keep losing body fat. And I think people saw the poll. You guys saw the poll on the YouTubes. It's very, very clear that the majority of people agree that I look way better now than even when I was squatting 605 with a cambered bar. I am 26 pounds lighter, obviously leaner. But I put that up. There were over 700 votes so far, and it was 81% like the shot of me doing the curls yesterday. Okay? 81% versus 19. Speaks volumes. So yes, I need to continue to cut. I'm going to continue to cut, tighten up that midsection. I'm going to work on all these areas, hypertrophy, everything. So yeah, we're going to do a lot of calf work. We're going to really push arms. That came up too. People are like, wow, your arm volumes are really high. I'm like, they need to be. And we need to hit a variety of angles. I feel like for me, quads, I'm not as worried about hitting a lot of angles. My quads grow. They'll grow from any volume. So I'm like, let me just do something that I can just come in and just focus on getting the pump, completing the reps, getting it done and not have to concentrate. And then I'll vary the posterior chain and the calf stimulus, because I really wanted to make sure I'm hitting a couple different angles on all that. Right? And this is not counting the deadlifts. The deadlifts themselves are a solid set. But I'm going to be honest, I didn't even feel that in my lower body. That deep deficit deadlift, I don't ever feel those in my lower body. And ironically, they should work it harder. I feel them all in my lats and traps and stuff. When I do a max all-out conventional deadlift, though, I feel everything. Rep work, honestly, especially deficit, I do tend to feel the upper body a lot more. Again, lats, traps, forearms. So, but we did good volumes today. So we did 10 total sets for posterior chain. So I did 5 sets of the glute ham raises. And this is kind of about the volumes we were doing with a lot of the posterior chain when I was pulling the biggest weights I've done. Like when I did 625 off of a deficit. Like I consider that to be more impressive than my 635 normal conventional, just because deficit pulls are harder. This is the sort of volumes I was doing for posterior chain. So let's continue to do that. Okay. Let's do that. Let's build those muscles. And I'm doing all the quad work. And that's the other thing, we come over to the whole idea of squats. I'm like, yeah, but as long as I build my quads, we're good. And all this other stuff, I'd be curious to see how doing a focus on both a lot of hamstring work and calf work, what it does to my squats later. Because there is an argument to a max squat of calves potentially giving you more bounce out of the bottom and more stability. Okay? Especially you got big hamstrings to bounce it off of. So again, I'm just going to build the lower body, and I don't care right now because that's the other thing that comes up. People are like, but what about strength? What about doing some meat work? The problem, when I do those things, I tend to obsess over strength. I obsess over my maxes. That makes cutting difficult. Why? Because it will make me psychologically want to prioritize the maxes. And if I'm cutting and those maxes are dropping in any, you guys see the issue? It's like, oh, we got to end the cut. We got to gain some weight. Well, that's not what we need to do right now. It would behoove me for everything from health to outreach, all my goals, to continue to get leaner. I really need to continue to tighten up that midsection. Again, yes, there's loose skin, but loose skin has fat in it, or else it tends to tighten up. So we need to keep trimming down. And I need to work on, and I'll say it, aesthetics. And I need to make a video. People are not getting that. They're like, did you just use the word isolation? Did you just use word? Yeah, I'm going to start using all these bro terms. Because here's the point. This needs to be a separate video. Here's the point. People understand them. And I feel like at a point that when I act like a contrarian over these terms, and I'm really not, I'm trying to use those scientific terms, but in the context of talking to the layman, they use those terms. It's not good for communication. I feel like it doesn't come across well. In fact, I had someone in the comments make a long post today. They're in the comments right now, making long posts about, like he's really upset. And that's exactly the point. We know there's no such thing as an isolation exercise. We know it's impossible. But it's the nomenclature that is commonly used in standard lifting culture now. Just use it. Same thing with the aesthetic thing. All right. People want to look good. It would behoove me to continue to work on looking good. I'm looking a lot better. A lot of people are like, wow, you're actually starting to look aesthetic. Yeah. But there's a lot of room for improvement. There's plenty of room for improvement there. Yes, I've come a long way. But I figure maybe in best case, I'm halfway through that journey. Say from where I was 2 or 3 years ago versus how I look now. Oh, I forgot to throw a belt on. I didn't belt up for this set of calf raises. I've been belting for these just to reduce, again, load on the spine. So that's a different thing with belts. That's an interesting topic. I like the core activation of taking a belt off, by the way. But this also highlights for you guys, there you go, you get a good shot of what I need to tighten up. So I need to lose all the fat in that area so that skin tightens up. You guys have seen the screenshots when I did water cuts and it's all tight. So the water sucks out of there. The fat dehydrates. It all tightens up. Okay? So we've got to remove mass from in there. And that area will get tight. And it'll get lean. So keep working on it. But as far as belts go, just a lot of nuance with that. talking about, are we trying to maximize core activation, or are we trying to minimize possible axial loading fatigue? Because raising intra-abdominal pressure against a belt, let's see where we're going. All right, so here we go. I haven't tried these. I'm like, let me try to work on seated calf raises. Tried to use a 55, I did 20, then I went up to a pair of 45s. I'm going to have to load some heavy ass weight on my thighs. Because even with the 90 pounds, I'm like doing sets of 30 plus. I'm like, this is ridiculous. See me sitting there going, it's not even anything there. I'm using that big plate, trying to get a better stretch. And you may need to slide it further out. Need to get a bigger stretch. All right. And then, of course, we're doing our reverse hypers. I ended up, I think, switching these after this. It was like belt squat, then reverse hyper, then calf raise. I increased the weight on the calf raises. And here's the thing. We know biomechanically the soleus doesn't get really activated that well standing, okay, without the knee bent. If I'm going to chase the look and I'm going to spend all this time working on my arms, everyone's like, you got crazy calves already without training them. That's just from my squatting and those. That's genetics. Plus, I used to be fat. That helps. But I don't blame that. Okay, everyone likes to use that line, well, you used to be really fat, so that's why you have calves. I had calves before I was an adult. I had calves before I got fat. I've always had big calves. I had big calves since I was like 12, and I wasn't fat. But I'm going to start doing all this calf work. I'm like, if I'm going to develop them, let's fully develop them. Okay? Just like with the biceps, like, man, you're doing a couple different types of bicep curls. We're hitting a couple angles. Yeah. So if I'm going to do all that arm work and I'm going to bother to do calves, why don't we fully develop them? Doesn't matter I've got good calf genetics and started with good calves already. Let's go ahead and work them. So that means I probably do need to do a standing and a seated type movement. So in other words, the knee locked versus the knee bent. Gastrocnemius versus soleus. Okay, it will prioritize one or the other. And we've got some good data showing, yeah, the soleus will never fully recruit with the leg locked. And the gastrocnemius will not fully recruit with us bent. So maybe I should be doing both. Again, just because of the function of the muscle. I don't think it's unreasonable. Right? I don't think it's unreasonable at all. I think this angle, though, here when I'm sitting down doing these, I think it shows how far I've come in terms of the body fat. Obviously, I'd like to lose, and I've had a few people say, no, that's too much. No, it's not too much. I'd like to lose another 10 pounds or so of body fat, okay? I think if I strip off another 10 pounds of body fat, I'll be pretty peeled, right? That waistline will tighten up. Everything will be good. I think that's about what I need to do. But you know, that's what people are like, well, we have hard numbers set. No, because I don't know. I've had people say, hey, what do you think your body fat percentage is? I'm like, I don't know. What do you guys think it is? I really don't know. And I don't feel like DEXA scanning again right now. Just don't care. I'll just keep cutting until I'm lean enough. Okay, I need to keep cutting until I have no loose skin around the waistline and you can see my erectors in my low back. I think that is our target goal. Okay? When I reach that point, I'll go, yeah, I'm lean enough. And I think that's a good, solid thing to aim for. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. And that's okay. We've made good progress. Keep moving forward. Keep focusing on gaining muscle. Gaining muscle everywhere. Obviously, the weak points need it, but we need to gain a little muscle everywhere. Let's focus. Let's do this right. Right? Let's not half-ass it. Let's get into it right. So yeah, these volumes are crazy. All my volumes are crazy right now. Pretty much every muscle is getting at least 20 sets a week. That's a lot. Some of them are getting a lot more. Okay? But yeah, I need to work both angles, just like I'm doing the reverse hypers and glute ham raises. They work very, very different elements to the posterior chain, and they both work wonders for my deadlift. So let's keep building those muscles, and then when I do some really heavy deadlifting, it'll probably still be good. Just like if I build all those and then I hammer the quads, really build all the quads and the adductors up on this other work, what'll happen? My squat will be pretty decent when I go back and do it. But right now, I can't focus on that. I've got to focus on the other. We've got to focus on, hey, we've got to get leaner, we've got to get bigger, we've got to improve my appearance. All right? Keep improving. And, people are enjoying it. It's gotten outreach. A lot of people have chimed in. They're impressed. They want to see me keep working on it. Okay? And that's the other thing. Even a few people who are haters have come in and admitted this has changed their mind about me a little. And I would say that's something we should all do in life. Look, if you got haters, if you have detractors, if you have those things, the best thing you can possibly do is to just keep improving and get so good. Get so good that your haters turn into fans. Okay? That's my advice. And I think that's advice other people have given me. And that's what I think I'm going to do. Just keep working towards excellence. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative. And I'll talk to you guys next time.